out justice. Who killed Chelsea Hill? In Hillsborough County, Florida, a man impersonating an officer pats down a female motorist. What is the key to spotting a fake cop? We get answers from our law enforcement experts. It is crime time here on Closing Arguments. Let's bring in tonight's guest. Joining me, retired Los Angeles Police Department Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey. Sergeant Dorsey started with the LAPD in 1980. She worked in patrol and specialized units, including gangs. She's the author of Black and Blue, The Creation of a Social Advocate, and of The Confidence Chronicles, the greatest crime story never told. Also with us tonight, former police officer Lance LaRusso. Lance has over 36 years of experience in law enforcement. He has trained civilians, officers, and supervisors as a firearms and defense tactics instructor. He is certified in hostage negotiation, and he is the author of When Cops Kill and Blue News. Sergeant Dorsey, Lance, great to see you both back here. First story tonight comes to us from down in Florida, from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. A man caught on video impersonating an officer. Okay, so the question, help folks out. How do you spot a fake cop? Sergeant Dorsey, this guy that was caught on video there, that woman didn't report it until that man was caught doing it again and was charged with sexually assaulting someone. Then she was like, oh my goodness, and then told authorities, and then they tracked down that video. So help folks out tonight, Sergeant. What should someone do? Because when we get pulled over, right, we are nervous. We don't want to do anything to get the officer angry. So, we're very vulnerable. So how can you be proactive to try to figure out if you're being pulled over by a fake officer?
This is pretty despicable, Benny, but what you can do going forward, now that we know that there are people out there who would take advantage of a situation and maybe a not so savvy young person, is to look for telltale signs that they may be an officer. Generally, when officers are undercover, they will have their badge on a necklace of some sort, if you will. They will either be wearing it around their neck or they'll have it clipped on their waistband. Certainly the type of vehicle, it's hard to discern because there are undercover officers who look like they're just in a regular vehicle. And so if it feels funny, follow your instinct. And since we live in the age of cell phones, record the encounter for future reference should you need to identify this person in that vehicle.
Lance, we want to cooperate. We don't want to make things worse. And how do you question someone to find out, listen, is this really a police officer? What should I do? What should folks do?
The bottom line is if it's anything other than a clearly marked law enforcement vehicle, there's nothing wrong with calling 911, letting them know you've been pulled over. They'll verify that the officer is legitimate. Most officers are not going to make a traffic stop in plain clothes unless it's an extreme circumstance. Even when officers are undercover or detectives have to stop a car, they're almost always going to get a marked cars. So the safest thing is just to call 911 and verify it, and that way you'll have that confidence at that point. And kudos to the Hillsborough Police Department, Sheriff's Office. These folks are not easy to catch. We dealt with them when I was on the street, and they can be very elusive.
Next story comes to us from reporter Rebecca Petit down at WFTS in Tampa. The sheriff releases new information in a quadruple murder.
What drove a former decorated war veteran to kill 4 people he had no connection to is becoming clearer as the investigation continues.
This is the most extensive single crime scene that we have worked that I can remember.
Sheriff Grady Judd says the 33-year-old suspect went to a friend's house to pick up a first aid kit on Saturday night. That friend lives near the home where the murders took place. Authorities say when the suspect left his friends, he saw Justice Gleason, one of the victims, mowing his lawn. He told Gleason he was looking for a girl named Amber, who was a victim of sex trafficking and was going to commit suicide. Authorities say Amber is a person the suspect made up.
He was very angry at Justice because he thought Justice had kept him from seeing this child, Amber, that was going to commit suicide. And that's when Brian Riley, our suspect, our murder suspect, said, "God told me to kill everyone."
Investigators say Sunday around 1 in the morning, the suspect returned to the victim's home in North Lakeland.
He searched through and spent time at the house to locate 3 entrance points into the homes. He planned out his diversions and he prepared his exit strategy.
Hours later, he shot through the windows, entering into the home of the 62-year-old victim, shooting and killing her. He then shot out the back door into the main house, killing Gleason, his 33-year-old girlfriend, and their 3-month-old son, who were hiding in the bathroom. Then took the 11-year-old victim from the bathroom to the living room.
And that's when he called me Amber, and I told him, "I'm not Amber." And he said, 3, 2, 1, and he shot me.
The 11-year-old victim told detectives that she played dead, and that's likely how she survived. The suspect, who was wearing a bulletproof vest, was shot by law enforcement through the stomach before surrendering. Authorities say the suspect shot inside the home more than 100 times. The 11-year-old victim has undergone multiple surgeries and is expected to recover. The sheriff's office is asking you to help the victim's family by donating through Polk Sheriff's Charities.
Okay, you take him into custody, time to interview him. What goes into interviewing a suspect like this after an incident like this? Lance, I'll begin with you.
You know, one of the hardest things to do is to put all of your emotions aside and just try to identify and gain a rapport with these folks. Florida follows the McNaughton rule. One of the things that you're going to have to show is that he appreciated the criminality of his actions. That's why this is going to be a long and detailed investigation. The Polk County Sheriff's Office has a long road ahead of them. They've got to basically defeat any types of defenses this person would have. It takes a very skilled investigator, and these investigators will never be the same after seeing that crime scene. It's horrific.
Sergeant Dorsey, it's a tough case. It's really tough. That girl survived unbelievably, but how about interviewing the suspect? You take him into custody, and now it's time to try to get information from him. How do you go about that? How do you prepare for that?
As heinous as the crime is, you want to develop a rapport with this individual so that you can glean information that might be helpful in terms of prosecution and just trying to understand what was the motive. I would imagine that somewhere down the road, we're going to hear a 5150, a mental illness type of defense with this guy, because who in their right mind would commit the kind of crime that he did? But what's more troubling to me, Vinny, is that there were 100 shots fired into this home and the police were not able to get there in a timely manner. I don't know if this is a rural area. There aren't a lot of neighbors to hear and report. But thank goodness that young girl had the presence of mind to feign her own death and save her life ultimately.
Yeah, that is the miracle that comes out of this, that she was able to survive, but the family just massacred. All right. Sergeant Dorsey, Lance LaRusso staying with us. We've got more crime time straight ahead.
Once I got hit and went down, you know, I felt like, okay, is this it, Lord? Is this how I'm gonna go? If that's what it is. And then something just popped in my head, jumped back up.
Unbelievable story you're about to see here in our Crime Time segment. Still with us, Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey and Lance LaRusso. This comes to us from reporter Nick Barris, WTVF in Nashville, Tennessee. A warehouse manager saves lives during a shooting.
Hello, 911. He got a warehouse shooting, and y'all talking about he called because he the gun. Okay. He's shooting everywhere. I have an active shooter on Smile Direct Club.
Emergency calls reported an active shooter at the Smile Direct warehouse in Antioch the morning of August 3rd.
There's a security officer shot.
He pulled the gun out, put the clip in. Like, oh my God.
It was chaos as people ran for their lives. Warehouse manager Thomas Abbott did not.
So why didn't you run?
I could have ran and hide, but I had two guys that was down. And I also had maybe 30, 40 people that was in another room back there that did not know what was going on.
Here is what Abbott knew. That morning during shift change, an employee, Antonio King, walked in and started confronting people.
He says, "You have a problem with me?" I said, "Nah, big guy, I don't have a problem with you. Let's sit down and talk about it." And he was like, "No, today is the day." And I said, "Big guy, what's going on? Let's just talk about it."
Abbott says King pulled a gun and fired a shot, missing him. King then went after other employees who ran for the front entrance to try to escape. Abbott followed.
He went outside and he was trying to come back in.
By that time, the warehouse's two security guards inside began exchanging gunshots with King, and both guards were shot.
I was like, oh my God. They're both down.
Abbott realized he couldn't allow King back into the building with more than 36 employees still inside, so he turned to one of the security guards.
Yeah, I said, "Give me your gun, give me your gun." And he gave me the gun and then gave me his extra clip. And I just took a couple shots at him to let him know that there's somebody in here manning the gun.
King returned fire, and a bullet fragment ricocheted, hitting Abbott in the chest, knocking him to the floor.
Once I got hit and went down, you know, I felt like, okay, is this it, Lord? Is this how I'm gonna go? If that's what it is. And then something just popped in my head, jumped back up.
Abbott again grabbed the gun and kept King from re-entering.
He's got a gun in his hand.
By that time, Metro Police arrived, confronting King outside the warehouse.
Do not move! Drop the weapon!
Where he was then shot and killed.
And my heart do go out to the family, you know, of that young man.
Abbott's just glad no one else died. Metro Police say there's no doubt his actions saved lives.
I just hope that if my wife or my daughters are in a situation like that, that somebody would do the same. Because I just wanted to make sure everybody go home safe.
Hero with a capital H. Unbelievable. But all right, let's talk about what he did and what you can do or should do or shouldn't do in an active shooter situation. But Sergeant Dorsey, hero, capital H. Brave, capital B. Unbelievable.
No doubt. And he had capital A angels all around him during that encounter. Ordinarily, you know, we wouldn't encourage a bystander to get involved in a situation, but thankfully he had the presence of mind to act quickly, to get the guns of the two guards from one of the guards that had already been knocked down by this shooter. And I think maybe because there was a rapport, because he knew this guy as an employee, it probably gave him a little bit of confidence that maybe he could develop a rapport. He could talk this guy down. He could distract him long enough to use the weapon and save lives. And undoubtedly, he did that very same thing.
Lance LaRusso, you have trained so many civilians and other folks for situations, I guess, like this. Your thoughts tonight?
Well, never underestimate fear as a motivator. It got me through night law school. The bottom line is this guy knew something had to be done. He did it. Overwhelmingly, active shooter situations end two ways: when somebody inside the building where the police kill the suspect, or the suspect kills themselves. So the bottom line, run, get out of the building. There's a great video, Run, Hide, Fight, put out by the Department of Homeland Security. But if you have a way to try to neutralize the threat, that's probably the only way these situations end. Like I said, other than the suicide of the suspect, somebody's got to stop the killing.
Yeah, just seeing the video of the man, firing the gun, but then hearing the description of what it was like to be there. Sergeant Dorsey, I just want to hear from you one more time about that moment where he talked about when he got hit and he went down, and the thoughts that must have been crossing his mind at that moment, but then he got back up and I believe undoubtedly saved potentially dozens of people.
Absolutely. And listen, adrenaline will get you to do things that you don't even consciously realize you're capable of completing. Tasks, fortitude, determination, all of that played into what drove that manager to not give up and not give in. Good for him.
All right. Again, a great job. Great job. All right. Final story tonight comes to us from Texas, the Harris County Sheriff's Office. A deputy has to jump a barrier to avoid an oncoming vehicle. Wow. How important to stay aware while you're on a scene like this on the side of the road. Officers there every day across the country, Lance.
It's extremely dangerous. A vehicle moving 40 miles an hour is 60 feet per second. So imagine trying to get out of the way. The officer was trying to flag him down. There's a toll booth there. He's trying to protect that scene. And, when he jumped out of the way, he was trying to choose the lesser of two evils. There's no telling what that drop off was, but I'm glad he survived.
Scary situation, Sergeant.
Absolutely. Listen, complacency kills, and it's so important to be aware of your surroundings and pay attention to what's going on. And we can see at some point one of the other motorists was actually on the other side of that concrete barricade and was just about to start to come over. Maybe the situation was resolving itself at the exact moment that this motorist nearly clipped the officer. And so thankfully, everything worked out the way it should have, and everyone survived that encounter. But it's important to pay attention at all times.
Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, Lance LaRusso on this Friday night. Thank you both so much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When we